welcome, friends, to another episode of the Huntington City Missions podcast that we call HopeCast. And we have some friends with us today that are actively involved in homeless ministry. And so a little story before they start. About 20 years ago, maybe a little more than that, our old one of the pastors where we were going to church at the time, Union Missionary Baptist Church, Barry Smith. And Barry was a mentor to so many people, and my wife Bonita and I included in that. And he got us involved in coming to, at that time, the riverbank on Saturday mornings, where breakfast was served to homeless people. And we found out later it wasn't just homeless, but some who were also, as they say today, underemployed, working poor. Some of them called them that. And Bonita and I started doing that, and that was really the introduction for us into this type of ministry that I don't think I would have ever ended up as director of the Huntington City Mission had it not been for that time and getting immersed in that ministry. And so this is near and dear to our hearts. And Bonita and I certainly learned a lot in that time, and I know that these two have as well in the time that they have led this ministry. And what we have, or who we have with us today, is Mark Graham and Gigi Gerlach. And we're certainly proud to have them. Thanks for agreeing to be on with us, and Lord blesses you for doing it. Why don't we start with you, Gigi? Just tell us a little bit about your background, and then we'll talk about the ministry itself.
Well, for me, it's a whole new chapter with the ministry, but I'm good at starting new chapters. Seems like a goal for me. I'm a mother with 4 children, grown children, by the way. And then I went to nursing school at 40. And then I worked at a couple places, but Capital Huntington mostly, 25 years. I loved working with cancer patients and the cancer center when it started. And it just, was everything to work with those patients. I actually met some patients there in that realm that belonged in this realm over here. And they had a special place in my heart, even getting for their treatments.
And Gigi, where is your home church?
I attend Redemption Church on 4th Avenue.
Oh, very good. Yeah. Great. Thank you for that. Mark, why don't you do the same, kind of just share a little bit?
Before we get into me, I think there's a big aspect of Gigi's past that led her towards the ministry, and that's the fact that she lost a son to addiction.
And it's very hard, to say the least. And you come to accept the cards that were dealt you. But I had retired. I was still working as a nurse at Cabell when he took his life. He worked at Cabell too, but he'd been addicted for many years.
So sorry.
And after it happened, I said to myself, I would like to help other people. I would like to help someone else's son, someone else's brother, someone else's sister, and hopefully in his memory and in his honor, we can make a difference.
Thank you for sharing that. I know it's painful.
So she has a heart for this situation and the people. Of course, my situation is totally different. I came out of the business world. I had a company I owned in Huntington, Key Personnel Incorporated, for 42 years, where I spent my time recruiting people into professional employment, such as medical, pharmaceutical, surgical, sales. But in that time, through the way life twists us, I went through several hardships, and ended up surrendering my life to the Lord and got involved with Big Branch Church in Chesapeake. Going through that, growing in the Lord, one of my close friends, Alcea Graham, who was active with this ministry, kept telling me, you need to come and just check it out. Well, it's one of those things when the first time I came was at the riverfront. And as soon as I left there, I've never not missed a Saturday other than a handful. So it's just one of those things when you witness what's going on and that people can have their lives change and who all that involves, all different levels of people from society. I mean, we've seen bankers, we've seen acts come through the line. It just opens your heart up, and once you get it in there, it's hard to get out. I don't think you want it out.
That's right. Sort of gets in your blood, doesn't it?
It's in your blood. Absolutely.
It sounds like, and I don't want to ask you to relive anything, especially anything painful, but it sounds like that those things in your life that were really adverse, it sounds like God used those to shape and form you to get you where you are today.
I think that's absolutely right. He, well, if he wants you somewhere, he's going to put certain trials in front of you.
That's a truth.
To make you grow, and I'm pretty sure that's what he was doing to me. I felt a calling, and
so that we say that about both of you.
I think we all have, my perception is we all have a purpose, and I think we need to live that purpose. And he gives example. He introduces us to it, and it feels right in your heart. It's all about your heart.
Mm-hmm.
Truly is.
Very good. So, Mark, you've told us a little bit about how you got at least introduced to this ministry. Gigi, how did you get plugged into this particular type of ministry?
Well, I called, Missy Browning.
Oh, yeah.
She's a good friend of mine. Love her dearly. She did so much charity work.
Yeah,
She used to work at the hospital. I would go and do the events with her at Recovery or Mission, Project Hope. Anywhere she went, and I would tag along and participate. So I called her when I had an idea about making a difference. And I said, what should I do, Missy? I had actually even been to the ministry before at Christmas time when they gave out toys, and I wore an elf costume. So they were Mr. and Miss Santa Claus, and I was an elf. And she said, Gigi, why don't you try the ministry, street ministry? I think you would like that, all the people there. And I came, and I just walked up by myself. I think I said hello to Mark. Pretty sure I did. And
sure
yeah.
you did.
And he said, yeah, we'll use it. Come on over here. We'll put you serve. So that's the way it started. And I, too, have come every Saturday except when I've not been able to come. And my situation has grown at the ministry. Larry Clark, who was also a big part of it and head of it, and he was having some health problems, and he said, I can't do this anymore. I'm done. I quit. No, you can't quit. And he said, yeah, I quit. And I said, no, this is too good. And I've been coming for a year, at that time, year or two, probably. And I said, I'll do it. He said, you will? I said, yeah. What am I supposed to do? So I got the checkbook that day, and I got to do the shopping. And it's continued to grow from there. And I've loved most every minute of it.
What I've noticed about that particular ministry, and it's been years since we were a part of it, but it was only ministry I know of that was not just actively coordinated and sponsored by different churches. It just seemed like that it's run all these years by people who have it on their heart to do this. And then I've noticed that they sort of come in and out, and when they move out, someone else comes in. And I've noticed that for all these years that I have been around that Saturday morning ministry.
We have churches that only come once a month. That's just what they committed to. But some of them have been doing that for years, and some of them come every week. I mean, you cannot literally run them off with a stick.
We actually have pinpointed a starting time when a biker was saved and accepted the Lord as his Savior. And he was a renegade biker. And he went around before they went to the river, and he gave donuts, a coffee, and the Word in a storefront on Sunday morning. And so that was probably about 2006. We figured it, thought, okay, that's the number. So for a ministry to exist, continue to grow for 20 years on its own without a head church is definitely a God thing.
That's for sure.
And He wants it to grow.
I think the word organic gets thrown around a lot, but that's an organic ministry.
That's a good word for it.
Well, Larry Clark was instrumental in funding that initial donut and coffee situation. And right now in Larry's garage, there are 4 bags of coffee that I'm supposed to pick up for the minutes. He's still coffee for the minister.
That's very good. When you first started, and of course I know, excuse me, that both of you had at least some exposure to this particular group of people, but was there a period of intimidation? Were you ever at any point afraid, or at least have some trepidation about being around these folks?
Well, I know the first time I went to the riverfront, all I did was pretty much walk around with my hands in my pockets, just trying to figure out what's going on here, which side of the table is which, and once I got the hang of that, all I did in the first 2 or 3 visits was tear down cardboard boxes and put them out of the way. And people thanked me for doing that, and the next thing I know, we had 3 or 4 guys doing that. So, but never really intimidated about the people, but never really felt threatened. We've seen a few instances where we've had to call the police or something, but it's an everyday occurrence in Huntington somewhat. But I'm never really felt threatened in any way by them. Most of them were very respectful. I have to keep telling them my name's not Sir, Mark.
I've never been intimidated. We have to remember I worked in the ghetto. I mean, and I would walk out at night and see different people on the street.
You already had some preparation as far as that goes.
I did. And there's a way that you carry yourself too, with confidence and eye contact. And so many of these people in the beginning did not have eye contact. They would look down rather than look me in the face, and then I would speak and they would. Yeah. So it's, you grow and they grow. And I have to tell you, a lot of them call me Mom. Most of them call me Gigi, and a lot of people have called me Mom, and I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, same here. They don't call me Mom, but I've been, my wife and I have adopted a lot of kids we didn't have before I came here. We got a lot of recovering addicts and some existing addicts and some felons, and we got a whole mess of people we didn't have before, and that I'm honored to be called Dad or Pops. Pops is what I generally got. Yeah,
that's good.
Yeah,
at least it's Pastor.
Yeah, that's one of my names. Pastor Mark. I get called that a lot, and I get called Maytag a lot.
Maytag.
Okay.
He deserves that.
I'm a bit of an agitator. I stirred these up a little bit.
And I like that one. Yeah, Maytag. That's good.
Well, just on a note on that, when we're ready to move, the line's ready to move.
Yeah.
I'm at the very beginning, taking up tickets, getting people started. She's the last person they see.
Oh, nice.
So we see every single person that goes through that line, and we talk to every single person, and we'll communicate.
It occurs to me, because I know, it's been a long time since I've been involved, but I know basically what's going on there. But the average person listening probably has no idea. So why don't you just kind of walk them through what people experience on Saturday mornings when they come over here?
Well, the absolute first thing they're guaranteed to do is hear the gospel. I mean, that is why the ministry was founded in the first place.
Right.
And we've had people, even recently, we've had people volunteer say, I don't know why y'all do that. Why don't you just feed them? we're going to feed them. We're going to feed them the gospel, and then we're going to feed them earthly food, right?
That's right.
But that's the first thing. We're somewhere down the road when we were back at the other church, we decided, hey, let's do a song before we do anything else. So we found somebody to sing. A lady who had completely turned her life around out of prison, found the Lord, got all of her children back, and is now a manager of McDonald's here in town. And we'll come back from time to time and open us up with a song. Then after that, one of the people, we prefer people that will speak who have a testimony. Michael Kwan or Paul Patrick or somebody who's been through addiction, homelessness, prison, whatever. Let them speak. We speak too from time to time. But give them a gospel message. That's part of it. It has to be done.
Do you find that, do you ever have an instance where people resent that, or are most people, even if they're not receptive to it, at least curious enough to listen?
I don't think I can recall a time when somebody was, unless somebody's off their meds and somebody's acting a little funny, but that's the only time we've ever had an instance where somebody was being vocal. But all we've done is ask them to calm down or leave, and they do. Everybody else is receptive, but you see a lot of people when the gospel song's being sung, you'll see a lot of people praising the Lord in the group, and other people will be over here just carried on their own conversation. Sounds like a normal church service, kind of that. But no, I think most people are respectful. In fact, they often refer to Saturday morning as their church. Yes.
But I have to add an addendum to what he said. First thing we do is give them a ticket.
And tell us, what's the ticket for?
Well, the ticket is to hold order and assembly when we start. And they go by the numbers. And a lot of them have figured it out to come early, get a ticket, and then go off somewhere, come back and bring their early ticket. The earlier the ticket, the sooner you get in line. So a lot of people, churches that bring and they hand out different things, they'll be in the line. So if you're in the line in the beginning, their odds of getting that stuff are better than the ones at the end of the line. So they are respectful. There's some people that, try and cheat the line or skip the line or trick us, and we're pretty good to catch it. But yeah,
I take that. Agreed with that.
But you know what? It is good to have rules. You have to announce rules when you start. Please don't smoke around us. There are people who are allergic. Every Saturday they're invited to attend Redemption Church. They all can walk there. I'd even picked them up, and I had quite a few takers. And there are some that I have actually taken many Sundays in a row. But a lot of them haven't followed through. But I think a lot of them, honestly, have so much in their lives they really can't picture a God forgiving them. And we keep trying to tell them he forgives us of everything, because you'll see them, tell the story with us and listening. And we can tell when they're intent. And most everybody at that breakfast is a believer. We'll even say, do they believe in Jesus Christ? And they will respond.
So when they get in line, so you still, I'm assuming you still serve breakfast. And what else happens there other than
clarify that this is a home hot breakfast?
Well, tell us about that.
Biscuits, sausage, gravies, fresh scrambled eggs, and nice about any juice or coffee.
Yeah,
milk. We have fruit. We give fruit with it.
And who makes the breakfast?
We have a team?
Yeah, there's actually two teams, and many times they're meshing together, but when one has to go, like last week, and another one stepped right in, took care of that. And some of the people have been there as long as Gigi and I. Sure, yeah.
And I have to tell you that I have given them a gift almost as good as the Lord has, and that's coffee creamer.
All right.
I have won over hearts with that. You think about you're homeless, you can't get a cup of coffee, let alone one with caramel macchiato, Frittadella. So it's a real joy when they say nobody makes coffee like Miss Gigi. So I get all those flavors.
So many things we take for granted.
We do that thing for granted. And it's a joy to serve that for the smiling faces.
Well, the very first thing they get in line is toilet paper.
Yeah.
And you're surprised how many people say, and I'll give the best toilet.
And you may not think that's special. Try not having it. Right. And see how that is. Yeah.
Mercy.
Right.
Yeah.
I learned here at the mission, not only that, but the first woman that came and asked for me for feminine hygiene products. I was a little bit embarrassed, but then I thought, you know what, this is everyday life here, and
well, the add to what you just asked about the tickets.
Yeah,
if people can and will go on Facebook and look at RC Street Ministry, they can see a picture of the tables. When we operate up the calls, they will see everything from toilet paper to personal care items, Bibles, who are closed, but people bring all kinds of food from beanie weenies to. I mean, it's a 40-foot line.
That's a
yellow place.
That brings up another question. Suppose that there's someone who's listening now, and they say, I could never see myself doing that, but I would like to help some way. What kind of items do you need?
Gosh, we're always open to talking to people about what we can work with.
Yeah.
We used to have a guy that brought fresh baked cinnamon rolls, and that was loaded, and we'd love to have that filled back in because it gives them something to eat right there in the line.
And again, it's something special. It's like the coffee. Yeah, I'm not going to get that every day.
But we take just fresh fruit with just about anything. The bananas, we had one gentleman that we've lost over the years who used to just supply us with bananas. Now the ministry purchase of the bananas, but anything like that, if they've got an idea, we'll listen to it to see if we can work it in.
Snacks they could eat later in the week.
That's good.
And we also make peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. We've added Nutella and a cranberry.
All right, nice. Yeah, you guys are making me hungry.
Yeah, and peanut butter crackers, so they can eat it throughout the day. And because I always serve candy with my coffee. If you can't buy a cup of coffee, you sure can't buy candy.
That's right.
So I just spray it out, and so I'm a favorite person over there.
Yeah, I think it would be good to point out here that it's not that. I always say in the city of Huntington, there's no reason for anybody to be hungry.
Yeah,
because there's always someone somewhere serving meals, and here at the mission. I mean, last year we served 284,000 meals here, and that's at no cost. You don't have to have an ID. You just come in and you get it. So that's not to say that no one is ever hungry, but there is feeding that goes on. But this is all the more reason why, we don't do caramel macchiato, and we don't always have fresh fruit. We've never had cinnamon rolls, fresh baked cinnamon rolls. So anything special like that is really well received, has been my experience anyway.
If we can treat them, we want to treat them.
Yeah, I agree. What have you learned about people experiencing homelessness that you didn't know before you started doing this?
Well, I don't know about that. I didn't know it. I've heard stories that it can happen to anybody.
That's right.
Absolutely. I mean, literally, we've seen people come by who've been burned out. We literally remember the story about a banker family lost his job, and when that happened, everything collapsed, and they were on the street.
Yeah, the average American's a lot closer
Absolutely.
To that than they realize.
Absolutely, it literally makes me go home. I'm sure it does Gigi too, and just think how blessed are we.
That's right.
Man.
We have served outside coldest temperatures, rainiest temperatures, hottest temperatures, because we have a home to go to. And it's amazing how long they will stand in that freezing ice weather for a warm breakfast and the handouts. It actually breaks my heart. There's no place to go, and their little hands are so weathered. It's if they've worked in coal all their life or manual construction. And their feet, a lot are black. Their hair is matted. But inside, there's a real person.
Yeah, that's right. We're talking about how close we most of us are to that. Every year across the country, there's a count done of homeless people. It's called the pit count, point in time. And there's one done for Cabell and Wayne County, and the mission is always takes a part in that with the local COC. And for most of the years that I was here, they do a survey of what's the reason for this episode of homelessness. And almost always, since I have been a part of this, it has been addiction, number one. But this year that changed. This year it changed to economic reasons.
Really?
Evictions, lost my job, so on and so forth. So again, when you look at homeless people and you want to refer to them as those people, just know and remember that that is somebody's mom and dad. That's somebody's kids. That's the kids that you saw growing up playing ball in your front yard with your kids. Somebody's aunt and uncle. That's who they are. We have a sort of a idea that there's this different group of people that just come out of nowhere and, all these ideas, but they are us. And we're a lot closer to that than we when we think. Sorry, I didn't mean to get preachy there.
How does mental illness, the numbers, we see that a lot. We see where they hadn't taken their medicine, they can get them. It's not drugs,
Yeah.
And they're not always playing with a full deck.
That's right.
And that's not my right to judge them. It's my honor to serve them.
I personally, in the last 10 years, have seen that
Yes.
on the rise.
I think it as much as the addiction.
I think so too.
Look at prayer.
And I think sometimes it's the reason for the addiction too, as well. But the problem is when you ask someone what's the reason for this episode of homelessness, if they're in a psychotic state, they don't really realize that. So they're not going to say that. But our estimates are 75, 80%, something like that, of the people on the street. And I have a good friend who works in this field, and she's a doctor, and she said, if I went on that when I became homeless, I guarantee in 48 hours, I'd be finding something to fill that void. I think it's the same way with mental illness. I think that a lot of people come to the party with that, and then some people, just the trauma from being on the street.
Well, I can give you an example of that, Mitch. There's a lady that I think 2 years ago was homeless, or could be here to mission. I don't know. I just know she was out there with us, and she was literally helping us serve and wanted to. And then she disappeared for a month, and when she came back, she was not the same, and she's still not the same. It's been a year and a half.
It's schizophrenic. Yeah. Yelling, cussing.
And I mean, she's got in some of that. But to carry on what you said about the percentages, we kind of just visually recognize that about 25% of everybody comes through our line is a new person.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Roll over.
Yeah, that's right. It's not like you. So if I heard correctly, there's roughly 288 homeless people in Cabell and Wayne County in this last count. It's not like you can go and house 280 people and the problem is solved. It's a constant. There's a constant input.
That's one of the things I say. I'll talk to them when they come in the line. If it's somebody new, I say, "Hi, I'm Mark. What brings you to us? Where are you from?" We'll just try to get to know them a little bit. And that's one of the anchors that I kind of picked up on real quick. My beginning, yes. If you recognize somebody, you recognize a name, something like that, that'll draw them closer. So we got success too.
I'd like to share one unity story that happened. Back in October, I got this little Yorkie, and he weighed 5 pounds, and I brought him with me, and I would just chain him under the table, and he just would lay there. Well, this person came in a wheelchair and had a big dog, and the big dog got a hold of the Yorkie, and he looked dead. I mean, he was paralyzed, just laying there. His eyes were frozen, and everybody in that line saw it, and you could feel the energy go up, and they all were praying in their minds. And it was unbelievable what you felt first. I'm so distraught. And one of the people take me to the emergency vet with the dog. And, but they were all torn up, really. And for weeks after that, they asked me about the day, but his whole belly was cut. He had emergency surgery, but no internal organs were. It was a miracle. It was a miracle. And it drew those people together like a fist.
Yeah.
And even later when Lay said, I tell you what, if I'd been there that day and I'd been packing, I'd shot that day. And I said, I'm glad you weren't there. And then the next one, he saw me come in, and he's crying. He's bawling, and he's apologized. And I said, I forgive you. It's a dog. It's what dogs do. I'm sorry he got attacked. I'm sorry your dog did it. And everybody was so angry. But talk about unity. Something like that happens, and they pull together. They do have a fellowship.
That's right.
They really do. And we've told them, there's no cussing on the lot. You want to talk like that, you go over here. And it's very respectful.
Yeah, right.
They aren't.
I've noticed by and large the same.
Yes.
But it reminded me when we were going down to the river, it was 2000, and I was getting ready to go on a mission trip to Belize. And the lady that was sort of doing what you guys are doing, kind of running it down there, it was Hillary, and I cannot think of Hillary's last name. Anyway, I don't think she lives in the area anymore. She went to New Life Victory Center. But she said, we want to pray for you today. And so I said, okay. And so I'm thinking that people there volunteering are going to come around and pray for me. No, it was that, but it was also the people receiving things that day. And I remember a person who was certainly we'll call it a client there, and I would assume was a person that was homelessness or experiencing homelessness. I remember that person laying her hands on me and praying. And afterwards said to me, hey, you know what? That's going to change your whole life. And I thought, what in the world? There's no those people. There's a lot less difference between us than we'd like to admit. And that meant a lot to me. I still think about that to this day. Is there any particular stories? Obviously, we wouldn't use anyone's name, but is there any particular stories you'd like to share that you've, and you've already showed some, but is there anything else you would like to share where you have seen someone either for the better or unfortunately in many cases the worst, seen someone's life affected that you'd be able to witness?
Well, there's several times, multiple times, but I want to share with you our God wink moments. I call Mark on the phone, no matter what time it is. You got to hear this, Bar.
Now, before you go any further, explain to people what you mean by God wink moment.
God wink. Well, things happen in front of you that that God is smiling about them. He got a kick out of what happened, and he's made it happen. Yeah, that's true. He did. One day we were sorting clothes at our storage place, and Donnie, one of our helpers, was there. And I said, Donnie, you want to just get you some crackers and go get you some peanut butter at the Dollar Tree and, get you a snack. And he says, Mom, I only eat Jeff. I said, well, poor you're a snob. So we go upstairs to the storage. Someone just brought stuff all, and there was a ball of your peanut butter. I said, you better come up here. You better see this. God never bad. He said, and there was times that people would say, I need a 6.5 shoe. And I said, I don't have that size. We do clothing too. We collect clothing, and we try and get certain sizes. And so this lady comes, she used to come from Hurricane every week, or brought a car full of clothes, and she filled the orders. And she said, Gigi, right after that lady said, I don't have shoes. She said, I've got one pair of shoes left at 6.5. And I said, God, you're laughing, aren't you? And I took the lady the shoes. But Mark can tell you some of those too. There are moments that you don't forget, and he shows you. But, when we ended up here, we've been at this city mission parking lot since May of 25. But we were at another place for 11 years. And we left, and we were looking for a place to have it. And we would try the parking lot beside my church. And the lady from the parking thing in Huntington came and told us we couldn't do it. I said, why can't we do it on Saturday? Nobody's here. And she goes, well, because I talked to the lawyer at the courthouse, and you can't do it here because this is a parking lot. And I thought, well, where are we going to go? So anyway, we came over here, and the city mission has welcomed us with the most open arms and love of any place I've ever seen. And to me, that's a God smiling moment. He wanted us here all along.
I think so too.
He did.
It made sense.
And it feels right.
And that's what Marshall Medical Outreach joins us.
Oh, yes. Tell us about that.
Once a month they come and set up a triage program, and with about 30 or 40 physicians and 20 canopies, and take up one whole side of the signing hall. But it used to be over at the church too, and actually everywhere we've been, they followed us. Yeah. And then they recently told us after we were over here, said, this is where we're supposed to be all along.
Oh, that's good to hear.
So we're glad you're all kind of over here. But they do. They come once a month. They set up that program, usually the fourth Saturday. They do vary a little bit, so we coast it, they post it. But then people can go through there, get everything from general workups to eye exams, additional things.
They provided a lot of glasses, especially for the rehab places, and they'll bring a busload from the different places, Recovery Point, and I have included Recovery Point in the work here. And in the last couple of years, I have stopped by and picked them up every Saturday, brought it down for them to do public service, and then I would take them back. But they have loved it. And then when they have helped, because I love them, I'm looking to know why they're here, I've given them a cross necklace. And some of them have said, I got to have another one, Gigi. I lost her, and what it means to them, what this ministry means to them. It's amazing.
Yeah. And Kevin was one that worked with us for well over a year or so, graduated, now out on his own, but he was back to this Saturday just to see him.
Well, good. Was he, when he was he part of the Marshall Health?
No, he agreed to cut.
Oh, Recovery Point. Okay. Very good. Yeah. So you have people from Marshall Health. So basically, you have what is absolutely a secular medical, facility. So there are some members of the Christian community around here that would tell you that you can't mix ministry with the secular. And what I'm wondering is, has it caused any friction at all for you to work with the folks from Marshall Health? Have they any demands from you? Are you less able to share the gospel than you were before? Do they ask you not to pray? Is there anything at all like that you've experienced just by working with these folks?
None that I can recall. In fact, they will mingle through our group to recruit people in their service, and then they're very respectful when we're speaking on the mic and praying, things like that. And, no.
A couple of the supervisors, wanted them to relocate because the space wasn't so big there. And I says, well, I'm going to tell you right now, if you're not doing breakfast or you're not giving things away, nobody's going to come. You belong right here where the people are.
That's right.
You have to go to them. And so they talked it over and they decided that's what they need to do.
Yeah, that's so good, I think.
Yeah.
And that's another program, too, that rotates because of the doctors that come and graduate and move on. So we're constantly dealing with new people. And
That's right. That's good. Yeah, and they're exposed to that as well. And some of the people that have helped us in those last 10 years at the mission so much are people from Marshall Health who have, and many of them are believers themselves.
Sam.
And so was certainly a blessing to me.
Migling's a big believer.
That's exactly right.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's become a friend as well. And love that guy. So what keeps you coming back to do this over and over?
she threatens me. No, I'm just kidding.
Tell me what the guy at the mission said to you the other day.
Gosh.
Not being married.
Oh, he asked me something about us being married. And I said, I was too ornery. She wouldn't have me. And we work so close together. People think we're connected more than we are outside of.
We're great friends. Yeah. Wanted to tell you one story, and it's unusual to me. I got this letter. It went to Trinity, and it took a while for me to get it. And it was from this young man. And he says, I know from the ministry, I need you all. Says Pastor Mark and Gigi is all I can remember. But I don't have a place to live. I don't have clothes. And it was written in the script. I thought, where is this kid, young man? And I had to start looking for him. Well, when I finally found him, it was 3 weeks later. And I had to go through all the different agencies. He was at a rehab with Prestera and at a house. And when I did find him, I took the clothes. He said, oh, that's okay, Gigi. They got me some. I'm okay. But he remembered us enough to try and fund us. Very sincere. And that happened again with another young man, Victor, who's gone through rehab and goes to church with me. It's just amazing.
That's part of answering your question right there is we get to see some of these success. That's right. You got to sometimes look for them.
Yeah.
They will surface from time to time. Yeah. Who's the lady we're going to go see in a few minutes?
Tina.
Tina's, you all have passed her, I believe, her and her 2 kids, but she's in need of certain things. To add to what I just said, that we become like a family. There's people down there that we just grown to know. If we're not there on Saturday, I think, what is wrong? Something's wrong.
Right. So I appreciate you all participating with us today. And before we wrap it up, though, I'm trying to think how to ask this question. What advice would you give to someone who was maybe where you guys were about 20 years ago, kind of feeling called to this sort of ministry, don't know anything about it? What advice would you give that person, the next Pastor Mark and the next Gigi mom?
I know when Alcia first approached me, it's like I just questioned whether I wanted to do something like that. So, and people will question themselves right out of getting involved if they let the self get in the way.
Sure.
So I would suggest that I tell people to come down, visit, don't plan anything, don't bring anything. Just come down. We're going to probably put you in a line, let you just serve and see what's going on. If it's for you, you'll know it. If it's not, you'll know it.
That's right.
But I'm betting that you'll feel something different when you get here. So all I say is get your foot in the water, stick your toe.
That's good advice.
Yeah, my advice is a little stronger than that. Uh, I want an engine, and certainly I don't want donations, but I want to tell you we are financed by donations. And we've got like 20 churches at least that sponsor us for funding. And it's amazing because when they came and they saw what was there, they want to be a part of it. And there's all kinds of ways. You could give clothes, you could give money, and I don't want donation though. I just want you to know how we're funded. But even the toilet paper is funded by someone else. And then I want to tell you from my heart and from the Bible, Jesus said, what you do to the least of these, you do to me. So if you don't feed them and you don't clothe them and you don't give them a place to stay and visit them when they can't get out, then you've done that to Jesus.
That's true. That's good. Thank you. I bet you would buy Jesus a caramel macchiato if he would.
I would. I would. Yeah.
Well, guys, it's been a real joy to have you here, and I appreciate you coming to do this. And so God bless you, and I pray this, you guys are going and doing it for another 20 years. And so thank you so much. And we at the mission, and I still say we because we got some roots here that'll be probably here for a long time. But we appreciate what you're doing, and we're happy to be a partner with you in it. And so just God bless you both, and I wish you many more years of joy in ministry.
Well, the mission and you and Kyle and Matt, Stephen,
yeah,
they're all on our prayer list.
Great.
And we keep you there because we're extremely thankful.
I'm sure the other guys would agree when I say this, but make sure you keep me on there because I sure do need it.
We tell people, Mitch is still there. He's just not in that same position.
That's right.
But I believe there are people over here probably think he is.
Yeah. Well, the mission's in good hands. And Stephen's did a great job. The rest of the team here has really responded well to him. And I jokingly say that, I took the whole month of January off. And then when I came back, I got really mad because they had the audacity to do well without me. And the mission's in great hands, and they're doing great things. And I'm very proud of all of that. So. All right. Anything else?
Well, we know who to thank.
That's exactly right. That's right.
People ask, Mark says, who's the ballsy of Mark?
Yeah.
Mark goes.
Yeah. That was from when I was here 20, 25, 26 years ago when I was a part of it. It was the same thing. We would say we'd bring hot dogs and sauce, and then maybe one week we didn't have sauce. And some of them would say, well, where's the sauce? And we just say, well, Jesus didn't give us any sauce this week.
That's what they say when they get to the coffee. Where's the caramel macchiato? Hey, where is she? But we're thankful.
Thank you for having us.
Yeah. Well, God bless you both. And thanks for listening today. And I hope that something maybe sparked a chord in you that would make you want to somehow get involved in this kind of ministry or maybe support this ministry. And so until we meet again, thank you so much. God bless you.